This place will be a home for all lesbian generations to be cherished in, and to be remembered in a continuity, or a continuum, as Adrienne Rich says, of lesbian courage. That is basically what's at the heart of this, to take a despised population and to say, you have a home in history, you have done things to be very, very proud of, you've kept alive the beauty of touch in a time that said you were a freak and sick to do it. And it's been proven by when women from the 50s come here and stand in shock at the fullness of the culture they're a part of and at the cherishing that they feel here. And that, to me, is at the center of this.
The Lesbian History Archives was founded in New York City in 1975 to collect and preserve lesbian lives. A mixture of library and family album, it's a place where women come to connect with the lives of other lesbians. Today, the Archives houses one of the largest collections of materials by and about lesbians and their communities in the world. From a small back room in a large West Side apartment in Manhattan, the collection has grown geometrically. Over 20 file cabinets of subject files, biographical files, unpublished papers, short stories, and poetry. 10,000 books, 1,300 periodicals, artwork, slides, 12,000 photographs, graphics, audio and videotapes, musical scores, buttons, clothing, 200 special collections of manuscripts, diaries, letters, and personal papers, and other representations of lesbian lives and activities. Due to a lack of space, the archives can no longer house all of these materials. The collection pours out to storage lockers, some used for duplicates, others for equipment, and special temperature and humidity controlled vaults house the film and video collection.
We also have the snapshot collection, and this is something that we make pleas for all the time. The best documenters of anybody's life, I would like to think, is ourselves. And the message we have to get across to all lesbian women is that these photographs from their life, of their friends, of their lovers, of an outing, of a house, is history. That is what will answer the question of that women always come here with: what were lesbians like in the 20s? What was it like to be a working lesbian during the Depression? And it's our photographic collection that is snapshots that have been given to us, let's say we have some incredible images of lesbian waitresses in a bar from the 40s that will answer those questions. So the photograph collection is really essential. Each one of these collections puts a demand on us in terms of preservation, which does make a demand on funds, because for them to be preserved in the way that they will have most life calls for materials that need to be bought.
The Archives collects materials in 3 areas: lesbian, feminist, and gay. The collection includes books and periodicals in French, German, Italian, Spanish, and other languages, and reflects the work of the founders in locating and preserving lesbian voices from across the country and around the world. Joan Nessel and Deb Adel, 2 of the co-founders, and Judith Schwartz, who joined them in 1978, coordinate the activities of the Archives. These 3 dedicated women share the responsibility for running the Archives. This enormous task includes fundraising, organizing the volunteers, establishing the budget, paying the bills, balancing the books, buying archival materials, answering thousands of letters and phone calls, giving tours of the archives, making slide presentations, giving lectures, deciding what materials to collect, organizing the collection, securing donations of materials, archiving new materials, and much, much more.
The Lesbian History Educational Foundation is an information service chartered by New York State as a not-for-profit corporation and recognized by the Internal Revenue Service as a tax-exempt organization. As an information service, the Archives facility itself is the resource room for that information service, and we're a public outreach information service, spreading word about lesbian lives and lesbian experience.
4 principles have shaped the growth and direction of the Archives. First, all women are welcome and there is no charge for access to the information. Second, the collection will never be sold and will never become part of a larger public or private mainstream institution. Third, all lesbian lives are important and should be collected at the Archives. The collected material should reflect the full diversity of the lesbian experience. And fourth, the Archives is dedicated to building intergenerational and cross-community respect through education.
The archives transforms a people's secret into a people's history, which is for us a life-saving act of self-inheritance. For many of us who grew up thinking that we were queers, that we were deviants, who lived our love in shame, the archives, with its fullness of images and words and dignity of experience, gives us a whole new way of taking on the world. And in some sense, that's really at the heart of what the archives is doing. It's not just preserving papers, it preserves lives.
The archives is a place where some women come to use the resources, others just to sit or explore. Many are seeking specific information, a book, a topic, reference material. Others come on personal searches to read about coming out, making love, relationships, work. Women come to read the biographies of our foremothers, or to look at the photographs and artwork, images of ourselves, our past, our present. The archives is not just a passive place to preserve and cherish our history, it's an active place where the collected history provides an important resource for political activists as well as for authors and filmmakers to create new lesbian culture in the form of books, movies, and art. The archives has provided workspace, resources, and a home for manuscripts for such writers as Lillian Faderman, Adrienne Rich, Jewel Gomez, Joan Larkin, Audre Lorde, and Cheryl Clark. The archives has also provided valuable information and materials for the films Silent Pioneers, Before Stonewall, and Gay Greenwich Village. Outtakes from these films are also a part of the archives collection. In addition to the core of the collection, the archives also produces a newsletter and sponsors educational and cultural events, including concerts, slideshows, video presentations, forums, readings, and dances.
One of the things we're very concerned with is that our collection move beyond the walls of the apartment or beyond the accessibility of those who can visit it. So the way we do that is by cataloging or listing in our newsletter a portion of the archive's holding on any given subject, and we also try always to reproduce an original document from lesbian history to enable lesbian scholars and researchers across the country and across the world to have some more original documents to work with. And this means diaries, letters, hard to find magazine articles. So the newsletter really serves as our kind of cataloger and sharing of information until we have a full catalog of everything we have.
The archives has always been staffed entirely by volunteers. From the earliest days when the co-founders put in endless time and money to develop the archives, to today, when a large core group of lesbians meets regularly to try to keep up with the daily needs of archiving, cataloging and filing material, answering letters and phone calls, updating the mailing list, attending to visitors, producing newsletters and flyers, and organizing fundraising events. Through the donation of materials and funds from individuals within the lesbian community, the archives continues to grow.
We have collections that are at the archives where people have asked to have names taken out for now, and where we have a coding system set up where names are kept someplace else so that at a certain point in history the names can be reassociated and reconnected with the particular stories. So we make all sorts of arrangements with people so that their papers won't be destroyed.
And we'll, you know, if you want to put a seal on it, a time seal for 20 years, 50 years, your lifetime, whatever you want to say. But just don't destroy it. Don't destroy your lives so easily. You'll regret it. Honest to God, you'll regret it. And
The operating expenses of the archives are met through donations, fundraisers, honorariums for slide presentations and speaking engagements, and donations for t-shirts, buttons, posters, and postcards. Grants have made possible the acquisition of a photocopier, a high-speed tape duplicator, a computer, a VCR, and a video monitor. The archives also has several special projects, including a video documentary currently in production about the Daughters of Bilitis, the first national lesbian rights group in America. The project has raised almost $20,000 in grants. Now the archives must look to the future as carefully as it does to the past. The archives has outgrown its current home in the apartment of one of the founders, and a larger, more permanent space is necessary. The archives' financial needs fall into three categories. 1, the building fund. 2, operating costs. And 3, special projects. Your support is needed in order to ensure that this precious and unique collection will be preserved for the future. Parts of the collection are in storage, inaccessible to the community. You can help preserve our lesbian heritage, making it accessible to all with your donation.
The time has come for the archives to move to a more professional space. A good part of the archives collection is no longer housed in the original place because we simply don't have the room, and our volunteers have no room to do the work of cataloging that they need to do. Our goal is a small, accessible building close to public transportation that will house such wonders as an audio-visual room, a gallery for artists and photographers, a comfortable reading room, a room for the volunteers to do their work, and a humidity-controlled room for the special collections. Buildings are available now, and we need to raise $1 million for purchase and renovation. Here's how you can help. Send a donation, large or small. If one lesbian gives $1 million, we will have a home. But if 1 million lesbians each give $1, we will also have a wonderful home. There are many other ways to help. You can pass the hat at a softball game. You can give part of a business take for the day. You can hold house parties. We're sure that the ingenuity of the lesbian community would find wonderful ways to help us raise this money. You can contact friends about us or send us the names of women who are interested, and we will get in touch with them. The Lesbian Herstory Archives is our institution to make sure our history, our stories, our faces are not forgotten. No one else can preserve our history as we can. It is a trust we hold for ourselves and for future lesbians. Please help us do this.